and we'll go ahead and get started. A quick introduction, if we have anybody here that has not joined one of our webinars or might have been newer to AXUS, my name is Aviva. I'm the Client Services Manager, and I will take you through our advanced training today. We usually keep these pretty short and sweet, so if anybody does have questions that you want us to go over or a specific topic, please get those questions in the chat section early on. So as soon as we go over everything we need to go over today, I can take a look and we'll get any of those answered as soon as we can. So let's go ahead and get started. You might have seen on our pop-up within your AXUS account that we are going to focus this training on the quote proposal creation aspect inside of AXUS, and we're also going to highlight, let me just put everybody on mute one more time. Okay, if you're just joining and I didn't get to put you on mute, just put yourself on mute when you get the chance. That would be great. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, as I said, we're going to talk a little bit about proposal creation today, and I'm also going to talk about the newest feature, which is the ability to generate itinerary templates, quotes, proposals, basically anything in your library without dates. So we now have a way for you to send off the content within your library to your clients. And of course, we all know that the library does not have dates attached to it. So this is a really awesome way for you guys to get that information out to your clients, even when dates are not yet ready to be put into your itinerary. So let's go ahead and get started. A quick review for anybody that might be newer to the library. What your library will do, which is here where my mouse is. This is a really great shared space for you or anybody within your organization. So if anybody has questions on who might be a part of your organization, take a look at your advisor tab. For some of you, if you're a tour operator or a DMC, it's going to say colleagues. So either advisors or colleagues tab, that will show who's a part of your organization, and anybody on that list would have access to that shared library. So this is, first of all, going to be a shared space for you guys to share itineraries, ideas, bookings, similar types of content in terms of terms and conditions, cancellation policies, really anything that works for your organization. We'll talk a little bit about that today. The library is also a place where we strip out traveler-specific information. So it's going to take out any traveler details, such as traveler profiles, specific check-in dates, or any dates in that matter. So we strip out traveler-specific details, we strip out any date, and we leave you with a nice template of the general itinerary outline that allows you to easily recall it and easily reuse it for future clients or future leads within AXUS. So we're going to talk about that today. And one of the easiest ways to add content in your library is for when it already exists. So let's say, for our example, I'm going to go down to one of my itineraries here. I have my Smith family trip in Australia. So whether it is a published itinerary that you've already sent out to your clients, whether it's something maybe you're still working on, but you say, you know what, this is a really great outline that I'd like to use for future clients that are traveling to that destination, what you can do is come up to your itinerary level, hover over the three dots icon, and click Copy to Library. And that's going to automatically add a copy of that. And you'll see the success message that just appeared in the bottom right corner. It's going to give you a nice templated copy of all that information and share that within your organization library. So that's going to be one of the ways that you can easily add content. And of course, it's always great when you've already built the content because you can just add it straight to your library. And if anybody had questions on more of the booking level, how do you add a specific booking? Just a quick refresher. If you open up a booking, you'll see that it has a checkbox to copy to library. So that's all you'd have to do is check it off and click save to add a booking individually to the library as well. So both ways are options. Now let's head on over to our library and take a look at what we have here. You have two sections. Again, just a reminder for anybody that's well aware of how the library works, but for those that are new, you have your itinerary templates and then also your individual booking templates. So we divided it by the itinerary level information and then also the individual booking information as well. Now, from here, let's talk about the itinerary templates. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll select the top link. And here is where we store all of those itinerary templates. Keep in mind, you have the ability to filter. So because I had the last name in the title, I'm going to look up by last name and apply the filter. So here is my Smith family in Australia, New Zealand. As we mentioned, it strips out the traveler specific details in terms of dates. So instead of showing a specific start date, we show a total number of days. Now, just as before, you can click into the template. It's going to have all that information. Of course, keep in mind you can adjust any of the itinerary details. So let's say that title, maybe I clearly want to get the name Smith out of it. Gear icon, edit itinerary, and I can go here and now maybe instead I'm going to put proposal for Johnson, Australia, New Zealand, however I want to title it. You have that internal notes section. So if there were any notes that you wanted to leave yourself about this proposal or about that template, keep in mind, these are notes that are just visible on the organization side. They're not pulled through to the traveler, so you can always keep any reminders about that template or that general itinerary here as well. It does pull through on your perspective when you create an itinerary from the proposal. So those internal notes will always be available to you, I should say, always be available to you. And we'll click save just to update that title. Now, I can always update the information. As you guys know, you have free accessibility within your itinerary template. If you need to add information, if you need to delete details, if I had flights in here, perhaps that's not relevant for the proposal if we're not yet at that point in our draft period with our clients. So if I had flights, I could remove those. But otherwise, we're going to see a pretty general template of that itinerary, still keeping all images and general information. What you will notice now, and if you didn't notice it already, at my icon dashboard level, we have two new icons. We have the web view icon and the printable version. And then you also have that kind of quick link to the web view up at the itinerary level as well. So what we can do, as I mentioned, is we can generate either that web view or the PDF as a proposal, as an itinerary template from the library, which again means that it doesn't have those dates. So this is the newer feature that we were talking about a little bit earlier that we've been promoting, is that ability to generate the web view version and the PDF version straight from your library, from that itinerary template section. So now I can present a client with a really nice and easy proposal that didn't require me to have to start from the get-go to create. I have now a wonderful proposal, day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. for that table of contents, my pre-travel, and then you'll see that the headers also have that continuation of the day 1, day 2, day 3 concept. So now only when we go back and we use that icon to create an itinerary from a template, that's when we'll be able to specify the dates. But otherwise, all your proposals, all your quotes, all your sample itineraries, you'll want to add into the library if you're not doing it already in order to give you that perspective to generate the web view or the printable version and have that non-dated concept to it. So it's a really great feature, as I said, for that earlier stage when dates are not yet booked. You have that ability to do so. I've also had a few questions come through about just some simple ways to be building within a proposal or a quote, just ways to make it obvious and easier for the client to kind of distinguish between the two. So I'm going to show you just a few tips that I've given people in the past. And if you haven't thought of others, or I should say, if you have thought of others and you want to share it, feel free to send us a message in the chat section, maybe of your go-tos or items that have worked for you. And I'm happy to kind of discuss those as well. So first and foremost is because we have full editing accessibility here, we can adjust the titles. We can add information. So if, let's say on day one, we had multiple hotels that were giving them different options in Sydney. So I'm going to first go to my Park Hyatt and I can put here, let's do option 1. So first of all, I'm just going to change the accommodation name. I'm going to add the word option 1 for this proposal just to make it a little bit more obvious that we have multiple choices on a day. Again, it's totally up to you. This was something we found handy. So you can adjust that title field here. And then the other great thing about the hotel booking in general, and this one's not so much of a new feature, but I always like to highlight it, is that you can add multiple room categories under your room. So this might be great in general. Maybe you've been using this if you've been doing group bookings and you have multiple rooms that you've booked within a hotel booking. But this can also be used to show different room categories or different levels that they can choose from. So perhaps we have an Opera Deluxe Suite. Add that last word. I'll put the bedding, and maybe I'll put just a random nightly room rate. I'm going to choose my currency, and then that's it. Maybe I want to put a little bit of a room description if you want to show a bit of differentiation between one room to the next. You could just even copy that from the hotel's website if you choose. But I'm going to keep it really clean and simple and give them the room category, the bedding, and then the rate. And then we'll move on. Maybe now we have a corner suite that's a little bit more expensive. I'll add in that details here. And then continue. And maybe we want to do one more room here. And this is our superior VIP grand suite. And this one is a little bit more expensive. We'll put the rate. So we're just filling in the details here. And again, we're going to click save. So now we've not only specified, and I could continue adding option 2, option 3 of different hotel brands, and then going into that hotel brand and then adding the different categories of rooms if we're giving them multiple choices, again, if that's what you guys are working on. So again, not only are we giving them multiple options for hotels, we're also giving them immediately the different categories of rooms and the prices for them to say, okay, I'm going to take the Superior Grand VIP Suite at the Park Hyatt. So making it really simple. And if we head back to that web view here, just to show you what that looks like, we'll go through our table of contents. So we'd have the title. Now it shows as an option 1. And then really nice and clear formatting to show the different room categories and then the rates, just one after another. So just a tip, if you guys haven't been doing this already, if it looks good, if it works for you, feel free to integrate that into your AXUS itineraries, or I should say proposals and quotes. Now, another option, just to kind of continue differentiating between different choices, we could also continue to do that for tours or activities. You can really do it for a lot of the choices that they have to choose from within their sample itinerary. And that would be the same process if I click into it and I could just say, again, maybe I have other wording besides option 1, choice 1, or however you want to phrase it. And then we'll just save Do the same for the cruising here, option 2. And then I can just say to them, let me know which option on day 2 works best for you. You could do that also for restaurants. Now, the other option is if you've got a lot of different choices for them to choose from, and maybe you don't want to have each one on its own line, you'd rather add it into one booking, you can go ahead and really use any of the booking categories. Other slash notes is always a go-to, but you could always add them all under tour activity or concierge if you choose. But other slash notes, keeping it really simple with that title field and the notes field. Let's say we had dining recommendations. Let's see what we have actually in our library. We'll see if we already have one created. So, but let's do our own. How about we do dining recommendations in Sydney? And then I'm going to come down. We're going to get rid of that from our library. And I can utilize that note section to literally show option 1. And maybe instead of putting option 1, you put the restaurant name and then the website. So you can copy and paste the website in here. You can make it a clickable link. Or if it was even easier for you, just put the name of the restaurant and make a clickable link out of that. That brings them to the website. Again, using that link icon. So completely up to you. But we could now kind of have it as more of a list style within a booking and just have the different options here all laid out for them that way. And again, utilize that linking feature if you have links to the tours or a blog or the restaurant's website or the menu. If you even linked in the menu, they say, take a look at these 4 menus and let me know what looks good to you. So there's so many ways that you guys can play around with it, that you can add all sorts of different planning and different activities for them to just easily take a look at either the web view or the PDF and say this, and then let's book it. And if anybody, as I said, if you ever have questions on how to add something into the library or into a proposal or quote, you're not quite sure how to do it, let us know. We are always happy to give you our best recommendation. And then just to kind of do full circle on the library, once you are ready, click that create itinerary from template icon. It's going to ask you for your start date. So, let's say January 1st. Maybe I'm going to knock out at this point that proposal form. We'll just say Johnson, Australia, and New Zealand trip. And create itinerary. So now, as a reminder, we're taking what was originally on day 1 is now January 1st. Day 2 is January 2nd. And then we can quickly go through, now that we've added the dates, we've confirmed with our clients, or maybe you're in the process of confirming with your clients, you can then go through and kind of clean up what their options were. So get rid of that option 1. Maybe they've chosen that Superior VIP Grand Suite. Great. We're going to delete the other 2 and save. When we're ready, we can add our confirmation numbers and finish it off from there. One other booking that I just want to go through, I've seen this in a few of your itineraries and I really love it. I've also had a few people bring up the question on how can I prepare my clients for the app? Or is there any more information that I can give them just so they are, they know what's to come, especially for maybe those that are not so iPhone, Android, smartphone savvy. So this is another option. I know in past webinars we've talked about, creating items like currency converters, weather forecast, packing lists, and putting it under our pre-travel. Another option is this, and I titled it this. You can title it whatever you want, but a get to know your XYZ app. if they're using Pocket Travel Consultant, if they're using AXUS, if they're a white labeled organization, I know we have a lot of MTA agents here. So whatever the app you guys are using, you can put that into the title should you choose, or just make it really generic. Get to know your mobile app. Free flow of text. Feel free to be creative. And then under the notes, we're kind of just giving them a what to expect. Maybe this is where you also put a quick bio, or just your own intro message, however you want to phrase it. What I always like to highlight when we're preparing somebody for the app is I just let them know that this is an app that will give them not only day-to-day information, but documents, guides. I always say it's a live channel of communication with other travel goers. If we spell correctly, you can message me back and forth within your messages section as the agent. You'll receive flight notifications. So feel free to give them whatever information you'd like to prepare them. And this was kind of a conversation I had, was how do I let my clients know where their documents will be? So if it's not, so obvious for them to go through the different tabs on the app, itinerary, I believe it's itinerary, documents, guides, and messages. You can even write that out, that you'll see everything in terms of hotel vouchers and any, let's say, Amtrak scans or documents under your document section of the mobile app. So feel free to point that out. I've also seen it as an example where one of our users created just an other/notes booking that was, to view all documents, check out your documents section of your app. So they've added it just as a title. And in that case, let's get rid of all of this. Let's say you want to really broadcast something. And yes, you can give it that high priority to give it the gray backdrop and your accent color, but maybe we really want something to stand out within the itinerary. So I'm going to put it in just the title and save. Now, before I do my next step, I'm going to show you on the web view what that looks like. Just kind of like a header. I've also seen people use this where they just put it in the title to be like a break within the itinerary. So maybe you have different destinations. You could do it where you put Sydney or Melbourne or Cairns, wherever they're traveling, just to break up the itinerary by destination. You could add an image. I've also seen a handful of people do a breakup using the photo joiner or Canva to do multiple images, and that's a nice way to also break up that web view on a destination or traveling from one location to another. Totally up to you. If you're going to add something just to the title because you really want it to stand out, what I recommend, and of course it's up to you, but you might not need to have that in your table of contents or summary. So we always show the title of a booking in the table of contents or summary, but you have a way around it. So if you just want it to show in the day-to-day, you're going to come back to your perspective of editing, 3 dots icon, and all I want to do is hide that booking from the table of contents. So if we go back to that web view and I refresh, you'll see that it removes it from the table of contents. We don't, necessarily need to have that title or all that kind of wording in the table of contents, but they're still greeted to that statement or that message as soon as they scroll down to the day-to-day. Just another suggestion for those that might have been looking for something to help break up that web view or emphasize information even further than that high priority. It's a great way to do it. Okay, I see we have quite a few questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over to our questions. We'll keep that as part of the recording. And again, if you have a question, please put it in now just so we can go through all of them quite quickly. The other thing is I want to keep it pretty general. So if there's anything here that is maybe more specific to one of your itineraries that would require us kind of to look at it together, I might recommend that you email us at support@axustravelapp.com. So we're going to keep the questions just general. That would be appropriate for everybody. Okay. So I know somebody mentioned page breaks specifically on the PDF. We currently don't have functionality in terms of you guys having the ability to set a page break. It is an item that is actually at the higher end of our list. We would love to put the ability for you guys to choose page break functionality on that PDF. The reason why we never wanted, I should say, or why we haven't yet done it, is we don't ever want to just assume where that page break would be, whether it would be after a full day, whether it would be after a booking. So we do want to add functionality to give you guys that opportunity to do it and really just customize it as you please. So it's not currently a feature, but it is something that we hope to do in the very near future. A recommendation is what you could do is, let's say we're looking at our PDF and I want to push down the Park Hyatt to the next page. I could come here to the transfer, and what I can do is just give it a few extra returns. So I'm adding some additional spacing under the notes section, which is going to help push the booking below it further down and then eventually onto the next page. So if you do want to move something down onto the next page, come back to your editing perspective via the notes, add a few extra returns, and then just click save. Okay, so that's just a little tip, at least for now. Another question, are there still plans to make the library private at some point? Yes. How we see it is we would give you guys the ability when you're copying to the library that you can choose if it's a public library entry, i.e. available to your organization, or private just to you. Library. Does this mean, let me go back up. I'm going to read out loud. Library. Does this mean that any itinerary that is saved to the library as a template will automatically have its separate entries saved in the library individual too? Great question. When you save an item, so I should say, when you save an itinerary to the library, it saves the itinerary as a whole. So it doesn't break up the individual bookings to add those to each of your booking categories. We wanted to give you guys the ability to do that booking per booking. For example, let's say you put, you copy an itinerary to the library that has a lot of flights in it. We wouldn't want to just randomly add a bunch of flights to air if you didn't need those bookings in your library as well. So we give you guys the ability to choose which bookings you add and which library templates. But you'll always see, we open up a booking, that also within the library, you can copy the individual booking as well to your library. So you can copy it as an individual booking from the itinerary perspective and the library perspective. Both ways we'll add it for you. Okay, next question. Okay, let me just see this one. And I think for this one, just let me clarify if I'm not answering it correctly. But in terms of privacy in the library, so if you guys are creating templates, as we said, right now everything is viewable to others within your organization. So if you're working within your itinerary templates and you prefer maybe something not to be touched by anybody else within your organization, what I recommend is to edit the title and perhaps put your name. My eyes only. But you guys, as I said, we will be adding privacy features to it. Add in the title, perhaps if it's something you don't want others to touch. And also another thing to always keep in mind is if you want to use somebody else's template, that's fine, but make sure you don't touch it in the library. You'll want to go ahead and create an itinerary from it, but you don't want to adjust it in the library because that would then adjust it for the actual agent who made it. So if you want to take someone's template and create an itinerary, fine, but first create it and then make any adjustments to it. You don't want to adjust anything in the library that would cause an issue for anybody else or the owner, the user who created it. Okay. Let's see. On your itinerary where it says Sydney, what type of component is it on the web view? Let's take a look. So I believe we're talking about this one right here. So all this is, I mentioned, this is an other/notes booking where I just put a title and a photo. So here I use Photo Joiner to do a multiple image collage type photo, and I put the title, and that's it. So another great way to do a little bit of what's the word? I don't want to say page break because it's clearly not a page break, but something that breaks up your itinerary from one destination to another. So, keep it simple. Either put that title and just do the title, or you could even put an image and then the word of that destination. Recommendation, or just a little tip to mention, you don't want, you could, but you don't really want to add just an image without a title, because if your clients are going to be looking at the mobile app, it's going to show up on that main itinerary page where they see the day-to-day of that itinerary as a blank booking. If you're okay with that, no problem. You can leave out the title. Otherwise, as I said, just make it simple, and you can always put the destination here as well. Another question, and I think you'll be very happy with the answer. Is there any hope whatsoever of getting a delete all for the notifications? Okay, I am super excited to show you this. If we go to notifications, let's get it to open. We now have a mark all as read. So all you have to do is click mark all as read, and it will immediately mark all of your notifications as read. And I now am at 0, which is a beautiful thing to see. So thank you for asking that question. I'm so happy you did, because yes, you can mark all as read for all of the notifications at your admin section. Okay, let's continue to see what we have here. If it's a group proposal, where would you add the total per person for the whole itinerary? So great question, and that could also be something that you use an other/notes booking. You can really customize what the text would be. So instead of putting, and I actually believe I have an example for that. Let's go back to Smith, and I'll show you what I have. Oh, let's do proposal. Oh, Johnson. There we go. Got to mix up our generic names. And I'm going to go on down, and let's add under post travel, other/notes, and I'm going to do price. Okay, so here I've created a few options. I'm going to show you the pricing breakdown for your above itinerary, which is what I called it. And what I did was I gave it a title, saved it to the library so I could recall it. And then here I did a general total. But under the notes, you can do it instead as total price per person. You can phrase it however you want. You can show them which visa you have on file in terms of what you are going to be charging. This might also be another spot to put a reference to their documents. So here I put, please reference your documents section for further terms and conditions and a cancellation policy. So this is something that you can add in at the proposal level. You can have it then carried through when you create it as an itinerary, whether you want to adjust the text or delete it. Again, it's completely up to you, but make this however you want it. If you want it price per person, you can do that. If you have different levels of pricing, again, this one includes all of the option ones. This one includes all of the option 2s. You could also do a gold, silver, platinum level and then specify that for your booking. So there's so many different ways that you can do it. And again, it's a free flow text under notes, so you can really adjust that as you want. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I know we've kind of reached the hour or the half hour, and I don't want to keep anybody too long. So if I don't get to your question, you can email us at support@axustravelapp.com. But I'm going to take just a few more, and then we'll go ahead and finish up. But I'm going to put also our email in the chat section, and you can always email. So I'm going to grab just a few more. And again, if I don't grab it, you can shoot us an email, and we're happy to answer you there. Let me see a few who we haven't gotten to yet. Let's see. Okay, so we had a question. Will there be a way soon to organize the supporting document order with an up-down arrow rather than the numbering 1, 2, 3 to keep in order? Yes, so that's also an item on our list. We want to add the same functionality that you would see, or I should say a similar functionality to the drag and drop that you see for your day-to-day information. So yep, definitely on our list. I would love to have that as well. Okay, let me just see if there was any other question, at least for now, just in the few here is something easy to answer. Quick one. Okay. How do you add 2 images? Do you need to save them as a PDF first with both images? So I'm going to show you, and you know what? I will send you, or you know what? Let me show you. I'll show you in our support, because anyways, this is good for you guys to know where to find this recording. But the multiple images that I have here, this was using a company, an outside software or website, I should say, called PhotoJoiner. And we actually have one of our past advanced trainings where we completely go over that whole concept of how to create these collaged images. It's super simple. There is no, making a PDF and then saving it and then adding an image. They make it really easy for you to basically add images to photojoiner.net, save it, and then you can upload it as a full collaged image into AXUS. So what I recommend is hopping on over to our support section where our recorded trainings are. Let me get to that. Keep in mind, you can always get over there by going through support. You can also get there if you have questions on an individual feature and you see the eye icon, which will take you to a specific article. You can always navigate back to the support library or the general access kind of back end here. And you want to go to the live and recorded trainings. I'm going to add this for you in I'll send you the link in our chat. And here, if you go down, you have our recorded webinars from past sessions. You'll see here we talk about it in multiple. I think we talk about PhotoJoiner in our August training, and then Greg went over Canva in our September training. Just click the link and it will bring you straight to YouTube and you can watch the video there. I will be adding our today's training under December, so take a look at that, and I will go ahead and send this URL in our chat section as well. So we'll get this recording up for anybody that wants it as a reference. But I am going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of finish on up here because I always try to promise to keep these as short and sweet as possible. So if I did not get to your question, please just forward it over to support@axustravelapp.com. And I'm very happy to help you then. Sorry, this is what happens when it's evening here in America. But it was so great to have you guys, and I'm thrilled that you were able to join us today. If any questions come up, support@axustravelapp.com, and have a wonderful rest of your morning or a great eve. Take care. Bye-bye.